And we are rolling.
Rocking and rolling. Hey, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us here for another edition of Rerun It Back. Reflections on the 3-channel era. I am Jack.
And I'm Scott.
And, Scott, we are hearing so much these days about AI, or artificial intelligence. It seems to be everywhere now in some form, and it's a polarizing technology. Some argue that along with advanced robotics, AI will lead to widespread unemployment and even a Terminator-style Skynet apocalypse, while others argue they will usher in an era of economic growth while leading to widespread unemployment. The idea of living with intelligent machines is not a new one by any means. And with AI and robots becoming a growing fact of life, whether we want them or not, we decided to look back at a sitcom that showed us that a high-tech companion could be somewhat adorable.
She's a small wonder, lovely and bright and soft curves. She's a small wonder, a child unlike other girls. She's a miracle, and I grant you, she'll enchant you at first sight. She's a small wonder, brings love and laughter everywhere.
Today on the Rerun It Back audio program, we are examining Small Wonder, a syndicated sitcom that ran from 1985 to 1989, and during that run it also appeared on the Fox network. The BBC once called it one of the worst sitcoms ever. But what say you, Scott? Was it a successful download or a 404 error?
Oh, I mean, we are talking major 404 error here. I was not aware this ran for 4 seasons, and frankly, having watched the first episode, I can't believe it made it past the first season.
It did indeed, and we will kind of get into the reasons why. And just for reference for our listeners, our sample episode of this show was episode 1, the pilot, also known as Vicky's Homecoming. This is available, much of this is available on YouTube if you feel so brave enough to explore it. But as Scott mentioned, this show ran over 4 seasons. It ran, like as I said, from 1985 to 1989. 96 episodes, Scott. 96.
Yes, and frankly,
96 episodes.
Frankly, after watching the first one, I'd say that was about 95 episodes too long.
But you did not remember this show.
I only recall the show existed.
Okay.
Kind of like one of those probably remember just flipping through the TV guide and like, oh, on this channel, this is, Small Wonder. Okay. Moving on to A-Team or something more fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was something I do remember it. It usually ran like on Saturdays. Locally. It was syndicated. It is one of the first shows that for its first run episodes, they ran in syndication. And this was something that normally did not happen, where a syndication company or whatever sells the show to individual channels in different markets, so to speak. And it was so popular. Now, 96 episodes. So it was, you got to be wondering why, because this is an incredibly bad show. And I'm going to let you take it from here, Scott. I would love to get your opinions of Small Wonder, episode 1, season 1.
Oh my goodness, where do I begin? Do I start with the contrived studio setup where everything seems to take place either in the kitchen or the parents' or child's bedroom? Do I start with the absolutely unfunny dialogue, the utterly wooden acting? It's like, I don't know if you ever saw something that ran on Adult Swim in 2014 called Too Many Cooks, which is sort
Absolutely.
of for those of you who haven't seen, it's like sort of like a takeoff on sitcom intros that just goes completely off the rails. And as I was watching the beginning of this with its very contrived opening sequence, hey, here's the dad. He works for a software company and he's having lunch and he looks at the camera, freeze frame. And like, oh, here's mom in the kitchen and she turns around, freeze frame. Oh, here's the precocious little kid sitting at the table, freeze frame. Oh, here's the robot doing robot things, freeze frame. It just...
Now I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to push back a little bit. To be fair, this was pretty much sitcoms in the 80s. I think we can agree on this, yes?
No, I mean, it follows this, the standard tropes for the the genre, but it's just so badly done. I mean, I think really honestly, Jack, we just need to pause for a moment and just give our listeners an idea of what the dialogue was like. So I think we just need to listen to a little clip here.
Capital idea, Scott. Here's a clip from a scene from Small Wonder.
After all these weeks of patiently waiting, I'd like you both to meet Vicky.
Vicky?
Oh, yeah, my voice input child identicant. V-I-C-I, I pronounce it Vicky.
Vicky? That's cute.
Come in here, Vicky. Say hello to my family.
Hello to my family.
Ted, are you putting us on? That's a real kid, right?
No, it's a robot.
Yeah, I think this would probably be a time to just... I'm not going to get into the beats of the plot of this episode. Basically, here's what you need to know. Dad works at a robotics company. He brings a project home that I guess the boss didn't want him to do or something, and he is building a robot that will be used to help disabled people or something. I'm not going to... That's good. Okay.
It basically
robots
a
helping.
child.
Okay, that's good.
Yes,
it's
a child robot companion.
Yeah,
basically.
and so this little robot is in the form of a 10-year-old girl named Vicky, which is an acronym for, Voice Input Child Identicant. Now, you're probably asking what an identicant is. The answer is I do not know. I do not find a definition of it. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. I'll look it up again after this episode and I'll get back with you. I swear. It's a 10-year-old girl talking in a robotic tone. She is sort of like friends with the couple's son. It's this married couple. So of course, mom's at home cooking and doing stuff. Mom is also very thirsty. I don't know if you noticed this. She's needing some alone time with Dad, which was really strange for a show that was basically aimed at families.
There's definitely some subtext where she's like alluding to, wanting to cozy up to, her man.
Yeah, she's
and
thirsty.
he's just like too harried and clueless. I mean, he's kind of like, the absent-minded professor who's just, who's like obsessed with this project. But then once Vicky is created and activated, they both parents basically cede all responsibility to their child. And it's kind of like, oh, hey, you have a new toy.
Yeah.
And then, the subplot is that the boss lives next door and his little, daughter who's like,
Harriet.
Harriet, who's like the nosy
Gladys
neighbor.
Kravitz.
Yeah, Gladys or Curly Sue or whatever the hell you want to call her, basically susses out what's going on. But of course that all is, they save any, like, there's no conclusion to this episode. It was basically just created almost as prologue. And we will get to this later, but it ends just like, what? But yeah, so it's just, so the kid whose name eludes me, basically is left home alone with Vicky, and he's sort of kind of trying to teach her what it is like to be human. But at the same time, just as you don't give a child access to a motor vehicle or heavy machinery, things go awry very quickly.
As they tend to do.
As they tend to do. But they're not funny, really. That's the thing. Case in point, it's like there's a scene kind of toward, I guess, the climax of the episode where it's the parents' anniversary. So the little boy decides to go to a gift shop to buy his parents an anniversary gift. And he takes Vicky with him. And Vicky plops herself down next to a little audio animatronic robot or something. And some workmen come out of nowhere and decide, well, we got to put these back in storage. And suddenly Vicky gets put in a locked storage room, but that's okay. She just bursts her way out of the door, and that's the end of the scene. Okay. And also, Vicky's kind of treated like a toy. She is kept in a cabinet in the kid's room, which is sort of like a child-sized standalone wardrobe that only contains a stoplight, which I think he must have lifted from the set of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I don't know what child keeps a stoplight in a toy chest or toy cabinet. And then she bursts out of that as well. Comedy. But yeah, it's just like, what are we getting? I'm watching this. It's like, what are we getting at other than they just envisioned this as a prologue to set up the series, and maybe they didn't even really know what they were doing. It's just like, let's just get it to episode 2 and we'll figure the rest out.
It was, here's the thing. First of all, you got to hit that 22-minute mark. And I'll just caution the audience. I'm kind of coming at this a little bit as someone who has dabbled in sitcom writing. I have to admire the fact that they managed to produce 96 episodes of this. And part of the reason that they were able to do 96 episodes of this is because it was so cheap to produce. I know that will come as a huge shock to you, Scott. But,
because that set was like so high end. So
let's pop the hood on this robot and take a look at who created this thing. This was co-created by a man named Howard Leeds, and he actually co-created both Silver Spoons and The Facts of Life. He was a showrunner for Different Strokes, and his IMDb is impressive. He also wrote for the Red Skelton Hour, Barney Miller, Brady Bunch, Bewitched. This dude, he put in
He's got a resume. He's definitely got a resume.
Absolutely. So what is hilarious to me about this is, let's say, you're a 20-something writer, you make your way to Hollywood for fame and fortune, and you get staffed on this kids show about a robotic 10-year-old. And you're like, okay, I'm going to slum this because hopefully I can get on something bigger or whatever. And lo and behold, the show is successful. Per my research, a lot of these writers were like, how am I still on this? How is this thing still alive? And again, it was just, this is the beauty of, if you're able to write something that's cheap, you can probably keep doing it. At least back in the day. Now it's the economics of television and movies are obviously completely fucked. But this one, they were able to be prolific because they were doing it on the cheap. And here's a fun fact. The estimated audience of Small Wonder, this is per the Everything 80s podcast. Shout out to Jamie Logie, Logie. I really hope I've already mispronounced it, but sorry, man. Shout out to him because a lot of the stuff, his earlier work is kind of informing the research on this episode. According to his research, Small Wonder was getting an audience of between 7 and 8 million a week. Now, to compare this, to give you an idea, this is rough. Compare that with the 1987 audience size, average audience size for the number one show in the country at the time, which was The Cosby Show. That was drawing an audience of about 30 million people. Now, of course, we're talking about a time when there was not this, wealth of things vying for an audience's attention. But Small Wonder was doing really well. And, Scott, it was also popular. It was distributed to, it was dubbed into 52 different languages. Let me say that again.
Wow.
It was dubbed into 52 different languages.
I guess my only response to that is there's just no accounting for taste. Or something like maybe lowest common denominator. I'm sure it was sure as fuck was not the Cosby Show. I can say that. If I may deviate for a moment, Jack, we spoke about this briefly before we came on air. Here on Rerun, we've looked at a lot of quote unquote bad television, but bad television can mean a lot of things. It can just be camp value, sort of the way Pink Lady and Jeff or the Star Wars Holiday Special were. It can be quote unquote bad just because it's a cultural relic of a time when people wore polyester bell bottoms and short shorts like Battle of the Network Stars. But in this case, this is just truly poorly executed television. Not, just poorly executed television done on the cheap with wooden dialogue and bad acting. And yet somehow people were able to overlook it all and find some sort of value in it. And frankly, I am flummoxed. I almost feel like we need to provide, another example of how bad the dialogue was just to give people an idea what we're talking about here.
To your point, I'm going to kind of honor your request. And I say kind of because I have audio of Small Wonder in Spanish. Would you like to hear it, Scott?
Well, I don't speak much Spanish, but sure, why not?
The answer is C.
Oye, Ted, ¿y cómo la tratamos?
Como si fuera una niña de verdad. Responde a cualquier cosa que se le mande. Y la programé para que conozca y haga todo lo que una humana de 10 años debe saber y hacer. Bueno, casi todo, porque recuerden que aún está en una etapa experimental.
Encantado de conocerte, soy Jamie. Encantada de conocerte, soy Vicky. Salúdame.
So even in Spanish, the dubbing is
it almost
very
makes it
robotic.
better.
Now,
it almost makes it better in a way.
It's funny. It's like I got the idea. Yes, I guilty as charged. I tend to seek out the bad stuff because I don't know. I find it more fascinating. And really, if we tried to do a funny hour about the Cosby Show, oh boy, that would be a bad idea. So it's
There'd
one
probably
of these.
just be a lot of Lisa Bonet jokes and then like references to roofying people, but we won't go there.
It's too easy. It's way too easy of a joke. It's Small Wonder is one of these things. Now, when it was in its run, I was not. I was older. I was old enough to not really want to watch it, but I had found if I'm having a conversation with somebody, this is a perfect example. I had mentioned this to my wife. I had mentioned this to my wife that we were going to do Small Wonder, and I didn't expect her to react at all. And it's a show that no one really talks about, but if you mention it, as I did in this case, she was like, "Oh my God!" Like. It's kind of the reaction you would see if you're driving down a highway and you see an animal that's been run over multiple times. It's that kind of reaction.
I mean, there is definitely kind of a car crash aspect to this.
Exactly. And the only reason she felt this way was because my brother-in-law, who was younger than us, he would put it on just to annoy her. Shout out to my brother-in-law, by the way. Okay, and here's another fun piece of trivia. In a lot of the countries where this show was broadcast, it was not called Small Wonder. It was called Super Vicky.
Okay.
I know, you can't really do anything with that. So how...
she's kind of super. She bursts through doors. She picks up full, 50-gallon jugs of water. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
sure.
that's all. Now, did you find the actors annoying?
Oh, I don't know what I found most annoying. Each of the characters was kind of annoying in their own way. The precocious kid, annoying Harriet, who's just kind of like an Eddie Haskell. Just the sheer stupidity of the husband. It's like, I don't know what the wife saw in him. Maybe he was just really well endowed. I'm not sure. But I think what was most annoying was Vicky's speech, which was just this very stilted, monotone, I am a robot delivery, which just grated on my nerves after like the first time she opened her mouth. And then just things, I got to admit, there were a couple scenes that just were like weird. Like, I think my favorite one was before he brought Vicky to life. He's like working. He's got like the bedroom filled with all these computer components to, I guess, animate her or program her or whatever, including what looks like a Radio Shack TRS-80 Model 3, which at its highest configuration had a whopping 48K of RAM. So I guess Vicky was like pretty, low tech. But there's a scene, and I know I'm kind of wandering all over the place here, but that's my job. There's a scene after, the dad has unveiled Vicky to his family and explains that she is this robot. He's like, no, she's not alive. She's a robot. And he turns the child around, unbuttons the top of her dress, and this is where it gets kind of pedo, a little too pedo for me.
Yeah, it gets a little weird.
And like to reveal like this cluster of circuits and lights underneath in a little panel on her back. But oh God, I'm creeped out just thinking of that scene now.
Here's something that I per the research, this whole show was something of a re-warmed over idea that Howard Leeds had. In a couple decades earlier, he had produced a show called My Living Doll, in which, I'm just reading the synopsis here, Air Force psychiatrist Dr. Bob McDonald discovers his colleague, scientist Dr. Carl Miller, has built a prototype android as part of a top-secret research project when the lifelike android, a sexy Amazonian female termed AF-709, wanders from Miller's lab. And this, and of course, and I've forgotten the actress's name. She played the Catwoman. That's all I remember. Julie Newmar played this. So this was like a show idea that he had. And then he just like takes us like, well, because he'd been working, the sort of the family, quote unquote, family show circuit at this point in his career. He's like, oh shit, I'll warm over this My Living Doll bit. Not really maybe taking into account that it's a bit pedo-ish, but the 80s were a more innocent time. What can I tell you?
Yeah, but again, why are we even discussing this, Jack? I mean, this has got to be the worst example of television that we have done so far. So I really got to know, why did you pick this?
Again, I think it's because it's one of these shows that no one will really, at least in my social circles, no one like brings it up. But if there is a like mention of, oh, this was a terrible thing, no one's going to really talk about it. But if someone mentions it, I know I'm contradicting myself here. The point is, it's something that no one will really, I don't really think anybody really thinks about as much these days. And to get, oh man, you've really painted me in a corner, haven't you? Detective.
So I guess I think what you're trying to,
I want a lawyer.
I think what you're trying to get at, Jack, is that despite the fact that people really don't give this show any sort of thought on a random daily basis, as well they should not, nevertheless, it somehow wormed its way into a cultural zeitgeist because 4 years on television, that's a lot of time.
And what is interesting to me is that, this thing, I think it was about 2 seasons in. This was about the time that the rights to this show got bought up by Rupert Murdoch, as he was launching. The mid-'80s was kind of when the Fox network, as we know it,
okay, and this makes sense
launched.
Because when they launched it, I mean, Fox was notorious, I would say, really, for its first 5 years of existence, if not longer, just throwing everything and anything at the wall, most of it completely forgettable. There's actually a Family Guy episode where Peter kind of makes a crack about all the memorable Fox shows and goes on to, name check like a dozen or two programs that, maybe lasted a season. So yeah, this makes sense. I mean, I certainly remember when Fox first hit the air, apart from Married with Children, which, had its merits as a sitcom, but was still in some very lowbrow. It was like Fox was like, hey, it's the middle of our first season on the air, and we just came up with 10 more television shows that might make the light of day for a season or not. Yeah, I mean, okay, that tracks. That totally tracks. I mean, the only other way I could see this being, other than syndication is maybe the USA Network from the 80s.
Potentially. I mean, the thing is, when he bought the show, at this point, I mean, and it was like he had bought, there was another company that was kind of distributing it or something, and somehow this falls into the News Corp family of fine companies, I say ironically. And they, I guess, per one of the interviews with one of the actors, they said, and I don't have the quote in front of me here, and I don't know why I don't. Apparently they were just, the bean counters were like, well, as far as syndication money, we're good. We don't really need this anymore. So it wasn't necessarily a rating suck, we're killing this thing. It was a situation where, well, the money, dollars and cents, we don't need this. We don't need this asset, so bye-bye Small Wonder. Which again, if you're making a show on the cheap and it's making money, you can still do it. So, would you like to hear about some of the special episodes during this run? Yes, I would, Jack.
There's special episodes? Of
yes,
course, they ran for 4 seasons. There's got to be special episodes.
So the one special episode, that a very special
episode
called Smoker's Delight, in which Jamie is the kid, the little boy.
Yeah, he's the son.
He tries to become popular at school by becoming a smoker. And that, of course, doesn't go well because this is the Reagan 80s, just say no, all that shit. Would you like to hear about some of the guest stars? They had celebrity guest stars.
Oh, they had celebrity guest stars.
Yes.
Wow. This really did have some heft to it.
Oh, it's some heavy hitters, man. Strap in. We have Art Linkletter of Kids Say the Darndest Things fame. If you've never heard of Art Linkletter, Art Linkletter. Oh, good God. It's been a long day. If you've not heard of Art Linkletter, go Google him. I just know he did that show, and he's an old guy and talks to kids and whatever. Jesse Ventura, former professional wrestler and governor of Minnesota. He appeared on the show as well. And my personal favorite, Raiders defensive end Lyle Alzado, the late Lyle Alzado, who I think is in the NFL Hall of Fame. Again, these are
so did they all appear on the same episode, or were they together, or was this like some sort of like Small Wonder version of the Love Boat?
I don't see them landing all three of them in the same episode, although that would have been fantastic.
Wow. It's yeah. I mean, it is kind of a strange BC list.
It's I'm going to think if there's anything else I'm looking in here as I look. Okay, here's an interesting fact about Tiffany Brissett, who played the lead in this show. She was a very talented kid at the time she was doing this. She gymnastics, was dancing, could play musical instruments, acting, and she almost got the role of Punky Brewster. Lost it. I think she was in like the final round of casting.
So she got the consolation prize of Small Wonder instead.
Yeah, so she gets this role where she's got to talk robotically all the time. And this was something that did not go over well behind the scenes because, I mean, it's kid who's like, look, I want to,
I sing, I dance, I do gymnastics.
It's a rational
while playing instruments.
So later in the show, they created another role for Tiffany as sort of the evil counterpart to Vicky, which I don't know.
For heaven's sakes.
I don't know the Small Wonder canon, nor do I care to learn it, but this gave her an opportunity to learn some more. Now, you're probably wondering, it's like, okay, if this kid is 10 years old and this show's running 4 years, what happens when the kid starts, hitting puberty and everything? They rode around that by saying, well, it's a system upgrade or something like that. So that was how they got around it.
With the puberty emulator.
Yeah, and apparently the parents did not get along backstage. The cast, per the interviews that I have read, everybody, all the actors seem to get along fine. That's always something I'm always wondering, like, they hate each other. No, they actually kind of got along. But it was the parents. It was a lot of stage parents. Everybody was, here is a quote from Marla Pennington Rowan, who played the thirsty mom. This was per Dave Nemitz for Yahoo TV in 2015. Quote, the parents thought they were the stars. So it was just like, oh my goodness, I just stay out of it. Brissett's mother, Diane, was involved in many of these backstage squabbles. This is Vicky, the leads. Often pushing producers to let her daughter show off more of her skills. Her mother was, quote, her mother was a great, and this is a very nice way of saying it, advocate for her daughter. So, unquote. So that kind of gives you an idea that this, it was not all fun and games in the background. But yeah, that's, I got nothing else here. We want to talk takeaways.
I can't get my mind off the blue jumpsuit that the mom wore in like the opening scenes. It was quite the fashion statement. Also, yeah, I don't want to watch any more of this. I mean, okay, I think we should at least. The ending baffled me. And again, like I had alluded to, I think they really just positioned this as prologue for the later episodes because it's like it just ends. There's no resolution to whatever plot there was in this particular narrative arc. I don't even really think there was much of a narrative arc. It's just kind of like, oh, okay, well, we've all learned a few lessons here that we're not going to articulate, and roll credits.
That's fair play.
Inexplicable.
My takeaway, I'm reminded of Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner when Harrison Ford triumphs over the android villain Roy Batty. And they're sitting on the side of a building, and he tells Harrison Ford, "I've seen things you wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die." Well, not really, not me. It's just the end of the episode, and I wanted to work in a Blade Runner reference. Anything else?
And this was no Blade Runner.
I would have watched it if it were. I would have loved a Harrison Ford cameo. Coming in and just dispatching Vicky in the middle of a scene. That would have been fantastic.
I would have paid good money just to see smoke come out of her ears and watch her head spin around. Her head did spin around in this episode once, which caused everybody a degree of consternation. But yeah, like I said, Jack, we've watched a lot of bad television, and this has to be just purely bad.
It was awful, and I had fun. I had fun talking about it.
No, I always have fun talking about it.
Absolutely. Anything else?
I would say keep those cards, letters, and telegrams and emails coming, but at this point, I think we probably alienated so many people or just puzzled them that, again, the two people who are still listening are like, yeah, we've already written in.
Yeah, it's really weird. I think since everybody found out that I was getting my wisdom teeth taken out, they were sending me Blue Apron box dinners. But the food...
Well, that's awfully kind.
Oh, I thought so too, and then I opened it, and it's like all the food was pre-chewed. So I don't know if I really want that. So you guys can just stop with the Blue Apron pre-chewed food. I don't need it. That's it, everybody. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Say goodnight, Scott.
Good night, Scott.
We'll be back in a few. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.